I am Agustín Montes, Professor of Public Health of the University of Santiago de Compostela. It's a pleasure for me to introduce the two next speakers. The first is Martina Poske. I'm not sure it's correct my pronunciation. She is the leader of the unit of cancer prevention in the Collaborating Center for Tobacco Control in German, Cancer Research Center. She is really a leader in tobacco advocate in Europe. And the next will do continue with the next speaker, and at the end of the two communications, then there will be time for chat with you. No? And then the next should be Esteban Fernandez. I think it's not needed to present him. He is our guest, and so I think is well known for everybody. So now, please, Martina.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I prefer to stay here so that we have a more face-to-face, and I see your reaction immediately. It's much more easier for me, but I love to be with you. And I thank you very much, Estefe Fernandez, for the invitation. It's a great honor for me to be here in your institute, and I think it's a very, very important symposium that you are conducting here. Congratulations to this idea and also to your strength to go forward. I must say, I'm speaking now for the German Cancer Research Center and not for the World Health Organization. I think it's important that you know this, because as Steffe told it to you, we will not and we cannot interfere in the existing discussion of the World Health Organization. And they are now preparing this important paper regarding regulations on e-cigarettes. So it's the position that I'm speaking about of the German Cancer Research Center. And let me just give you some additional information. I started with the issue of e-cigarettes, with the topic of e-cigarettes 3.5 years ago. Asking my team, and we have 8 PhD colleagues in our team, to review existing literature and existing science on e-cigarettes at this time, and we published the first report on e-cigarettes that was existing worldwide. We are very proud that we can say it. We published this first report on e-cigarettes, summarizing all existing literature at the beginning of the year 2013. So last year, and you have this report, I think, also in your conference back. This was last year, and I remember there were more than 130 studies on e-cigarettes on the market, on research. Then we realized that within only a few months there came one study after the next, and we were asked to update the knowledge about e-cigarettes. And what we did this year, in the beginning of this year, it was February, yes. We updated the knowledge of the e-cigarettes, and we updated this for the wonderful European conference Tobacco or Health in Istanbul. And we brought this also in the session about e-cigarettes to Istanbul. So these were additional more than 70 studies that were here noticed. So if if you are a lazy girl or a lazy boy. Then you must not read this big thing. You can just take this smaller, and we make it very easy for you to reading. We just summarized the knowledge of the last year in a short chapter, and then switched to the newest news and to the newest science. So it's very, very easy for you to have a very quick overview about existing knowledge on e-secrets. So this is just for introducing my team and me. And of course, I can promise you that we will stay on this train, and we will continue with monitoring the knowledge and also the existing debate on e-secrets. So what I'm now presenting you today is I will show you the new growing market for electronic inhalation products. And I think I switched to the term of inhalation products. Why I did it? Because we heard it from Simon Chapman before in his brilliant speech, that he is always speaking from ENS, electronic nicotine delivery systems. This is an acronym for ENS. We detected in the meantime that the ENS are now extended to a huge market of non-nicotine containing electronic systems. And because all products, they are products for inhaling the substances, we invented the term of electronic inhalation products because it's the wider view on this. Then I will speak quite shortly about the potential health risks. I'm happy about this wonderful introduction by Simon, because Simon, he showed you also the newest data on the health risks. So I can just go quickly through the existing knowledge. And at the end, I focus on the case of regulation. And because my colleague, there's a colleague speaking about the Tobacco Product Directive in this afternoon, I will touch only the Tobacco Product Directive, but I will go beyond this directive and show you what could be done in regulation of these products. Okay, let's start. Well, I think you all know the components of an e-secret, and I will not explain it at all, but I will bring your attention to a very important thing, and this is the battery system. I can tell you, and we know it from a lot of discussions in consumer blogs, that the batteries, if you have a weak battery in an electronic cigarette or inhalation system, then it's very, very tricky to inhale. So you need a strong battery. And this is a construction failure from the beginning of this system, that the consumers are not very happy with this battery system. So they must deeply inhale to get their kick, but they don't get the kick very quickly, because it takes time that the nicotine is coming in your body and in your brain especially, to make your satisfaction. And I think what we are saying from the point of addiction research, this is an observation that these systems, these inhalation systems, so far they are on the market, they are not fulfilling the satisfactions of the smokers. And this may be one of the reasons that a lot of people, they are trying them, they are buying them. We have millions of sales. It's true, and we looked but for the continuous consumption, there are maybe only few. Most of them, they are going back to traditional cigarettes, or they are using them, electronic products only intermediate or as a dual use. And this comes very clearly from the blogger scene, and it's one very interesting thing. We looked on our national data in Germany because the retailers and also the companies, the little companies that are selling, vending the e-cigarettes, they are in a hype. They say that millions of Germans are now the users of e-cigarettes. And then we made a population survey, a representative population survey. Yes, and we saw that 25 to 30% at the age of 16 to 40, they used them, they tried them, they experimented with e-cigarettes. It's right. There are millions of Germans. However, from this 25%, only 0.4% are using them continuously. There's a huge gap between experimentation with these products and real use. And this is interesting. That's really interesting. So what is, I think, very important, maybe that you also make a representative survey in Spain and looking on the real market. And don't trust, of course, the retailers and the companies, but have a look on the real market and the real prevalence rate, the vaping rate in your country. Maybe in Spain it's also very, very low. I suppose. I think so. Yeah. Okay. This is the interesting thing. Okay. We have from the products a very broad variation. We have one-way e-cigarettes with different style. It's like a cigarette or like a pencil or a stick. We have also refillable e-cigarettes with different look for the. This is an accu, for example, of this is an e-cigarette battery, and you see here on the first view. These are this is addressed to traditional smokers. This may be too, but this is a very clear addressed to one target group. Do you think that a heavy smoker will ever use such fancy things? I don't think so. Do you think that an adult smoker will use it? I don't think so. So this is beyond serious smoking. It's just addressed to the youth market. We have also a very clear design for use on young people, young adults. A new system where you have an e-cigarette with a liquid. And here, then you can have music, you can switch on music. You can also phone with this system. So you have a combination of a phone, a telephone, a music animation for you, and you can smoke. It's amazing. Do you think a serious smoker really will switch to such a product? We don't think so. Then we have, of course, for serious smokers, they have pipes and cigars, like this here, different pipes, also fancy pipes, and they are advertising these pipes very often because you see the color with women. They try to develop the women market with these fancy colors. And here you have the cigars. This is just one for one use. So yeah, they are they have very different. This is an accu. This is for an accu system. And this is a very new trend, and why we are saying inhalation products, because most of them, they are not containing nicotine. These are the e-shishas. The e-shishas are products, they have the same principle as e-cigarettes, like this. Sometimes they have different mouthpieces, like this, a little bit associated with shisha. And in such a system, you can have 500 to 1,500 puffs. But also they have refillable pens. So e-shishas is a booming market in certain countries in the European Union and also in other countries in the world. And especially now in my country, in Germany, we have an incredible advertising for these e-shishas because young people, this association with water pipes, but it's much more practical than this water pipe where you must heat and you must also clean the system of water pipes and so on. This is much more fancy, and the name is e-shisha to go. So it's very clear for the for the youth market, designed and also sold for the youth market. Mostly, again, without nicotine. They are, but in the internet, they are also available with nicotine, and they are vending them in retailer shops and kiosks very close to German schools. And they are now very popular in all our country. We get press articles and information on this new wave among 10 to 18 years old. They are taking them at school, and they are trying to consume them in the classroom or in the environment of the school. So this is a new trend, just now starting. Another thing is very new, coming from the Netherlands, is an e-joint with no tobacco, no nicotine, also not with the THC, this addictive making substance in cannabis. And it's a cannabis concentrate that is announced so far by the manufacturer. And you can imagine how fancy this is for a certain group of our population. Now, just another example of some liquids that are advertised in our kiosks, in our retailer shops, and you see this is also very fancy. Also, the packs is very fancy and attractive, and you cannot imagine that a serious smoker will buy these little very nice bottles. We have a huge range of flavors, and they all are attractive to use. We have, from the flavors, from the liquids, we have fruit flavors, we have here spices flavors, but we have also tobacco flavors. This might be more close to smokers. However, we have also here sweets. We heard it also from Simon Chapman with this gummy beers, and this is also the same on our market. And we have here also liquid drinks, also alcoholic drinks, and they are advertising with the basic liquid without aroma, and then you can also you can change it. You can also order in the internet a special flavor for yourself. You say, for example, 20% of apple, 20% of chocolate, and the rest may be tobacco, and you will get it in your individual relationship, and it's yours, and then it's yours. You own your own aroma. So the aromas are the mess. The aromas are the big problem. And here, again, one advertising, you said, the blueberries, chocolates, raisin, peaches, mango. You have pina colada, coffee, strawberries, ananas, and bubblegum. So all you can order it and it's very clear where the target groups are. These are the young, not a traditional smoker. Coming up to the potential health risks. What we know is that as ingredients we have propylene glycol, we have also glycerol, and we have flavors and nicotine. This is for sure. However, we must say that every company, or nearly most, every country has different mixtures and also different levels in the of nicotine or non-nicotine. We had a study in Germany, and Simon referred to this, that showing that in 10 non-nicotine products there were 7 with nicotine. So you cannot be sure if the products are really, or the consumer cannot be sure if in the bottle is this what is outside the description. And for the consumers especially, you cannot read it. You cannot read it with glasses. You need a microscope to read the ingredients. So what is this with under the aspect of consumer information? With nothing, absolutely nothing. So coming up to the propylene glycol, we have a lot of also reports on when you inhale propylene glycol, it's coming up, or it may come up. It must not, but in many cases we have irritation of respiratory system. We know that this substance is allowed for oral intake as food additive and for dermal application as in cosmetics. However, these are in a very low dose, and the way to take it in your body, it's completely different than the inhalation. And the big problem is indeed the very high volume of inhalation that you are doing normally as a consumer. It's 100 to 150 puffs per day. And Simon, he calculated this 80,000 of puffs per year. What does this propylene glycol, which is the main substance in the products, 80% of the liquids is propylene glycol. What does it do on the long term? So we have so far no observation data because this comes from the very short time that we have since the beginning of the consumption. Most of the consumers, maybe they started 3 or 4 years ago and then they interrupted. So we have no good intervention study, for example, or observation study, and no clinical data on this. And this is the unsure situation that we have. Glycerol is also, we have also authorization as food additive, as humectant and stabilization agent, and we also don't know the long-term effect of repeated inhalation. It's the same like with propylene glycol. Then coming to the flavors, and these are, they're quite, from them we know a little bit more, but also not in this huge amount of volume that are inhaled by e-cigarette consumers. We know that some are allergic, like menthol, vanillin, eugenol, linalool, or anise alcohol. And what we don't know, what's happening with the on the long term, with the repeated inhalation. We don't know it. We cannot say it at the moment. Nevertheless, it's not very acceptable to inhale these flavors. Coming up now to the risks of the carcinogenic substances in the vapor. They are there, however, we must say, we have, from these studies that we have, and I think we have in the meantime maybe between 10 and 15 different studies, there is a wide range of differences because according to the subject that they had. So if you are measuring only the liquids, for example, you may not find a lot of carcinogens. However, when you are using the liquids as intended by consumers and with deep inhalation, then you get very quickly in an overheating system, because the battery is overheated, because also the liquids are overheated. And then when you are testing the liquids under normal condition, under the condition of consumption, then you will find formaldehyde, acetaldehyde, acrolein, the metals also, and they appear to be produced during the heating system. And this says a lot for the especially under aspects of consumer health. I think this is a failure of the system, of the existing products that we have. That we have no security, we have no safe. We can say we have no safe products here, and under consumer health aspects. And this is also one point in our tobacco product directive. Under consumer health health issues, this must be guaranteed that there is no failure in the heating system. This is one point. The next is we need a standardized product market, and not coming up new products with a vague and a very uncertain situation regarding the security for the consumer. So this is a clear topic for the regulation. And of course, when the pro e-cigarette people, they are saying, but these substances are carcinogenic, they are so low in comparison to the carcinogens of the traditional tobacco cigarettes. We must say, yes, it's true, they are much more lower than in the traditional cigarettes. The traditional cigarettes are poisoned. But in this chemical mixture, we cannot say we have a safe threshold, we have a safe upper limit for the consumer. In opposite, regarding the oncology, we know that if you have even a low concentration of carcinogens and you use these carcinogens, remember the data, 80,000 times per year. 80,000 times per year. And you inhale 80,000 times per year carcinogens. Then you have the overall level of the carcinogens in your body is high over the time. And you cannot say anything. You cannot say this is a safe product when you have the carcinogens in this. Coming to the nicotine, and I must say, comparing nicotine with coffee, this is absolutely, it's a nightmare to banalize this substance. We know that nicotine is a toxic substance, and this is the reason why Australia banned nicotine on the market. And we use nicotine as a pesticide in our gardens. We have it as pesticide. And can you imagine then you say nicotine is like coffee? It's ridiculous. And I cannot understand how intelligent colleagues are saying something like this. We know that it harms the unborn. This is the reason why we say, please, to a pregnant woman, please don't use any nicotine delivery system. The tumor promoting it was well explained by Simon again, and it's possibly carcinogenic itself. Though this will come new, I think we know to tell it very clearly. We know that we need more research on this. However, there is it's very interesting, these new findings from our colleagues, and of course it makes addiction. It provokes addiction, and this is why the smokers, they want to inhale nicotine-containing e-cigarettes. It's very clear. So, coming to the emissions, we have good data in the meantime that e-cigarettes and also all e-inhalation systems, they impair the air they change the air in a room by particles, by flavors, also by carcinogens, and with the nicotine-containing products, of course, by nicotine. But this was just described in a very, very new, and I think Steffi will speak more about in his presentation. It's proved. It's proved we have them. We have these substances in the air, and especially also by non-nicotine vapor. This is interesting. Of course, it is much less than in second-hand cigarette smoke. Nevertheless, it impairs the air, and if you have several e-cigarette smokers or vapors together in a room, then try to inhale. It's a mess. So it's a very clear message not to ban vaping in non-smoking areas. Let's also speak about as a potential health risk the intoxication, and this is really a beginning, maybe a beginning, and we must be very careful in also to inform the public about this. In the US, we have increasing reports on intoxication of children. They are drinking these little bottles when they are on the table at home or in the kitchen. Yeah, and we have this is really alarming. From 0 reports we have now every month. The FDA is telling us every month we have now more than some hundreds of reports. Well, the symptoms are mild and transient, but so far it's a risk also of overdoses for the consumers itself, and they are reporting them. Coming to the regulation, and I will not go so far to the EU directive that is in a separate presentation here. But for having a comprehensive regulation of e-cigarette or e-inhalation products, we must consider the consumer and health protection. We must also consider the protection against emissions, the protection of use, and also the protection of the environment. And what we did in this slide is we said what we must do. We have the product, we have the act. For the consumer and health protection, we have it, improved technical security, improve the labeling. Then we have the protection against emission, included in the non-smoking laws. No use of electronic inhalation products in non-smoking area. But for the use, we need, for the use, the Protection of Young Persons Act. We need a sales ban to minors, and I hope that Germany will make it rapidly. We also need a ban on flavors that are attractive to use, and think on tobacco tax. the tax on electronic inhalation products must be set up. This is one of I think the finance minister will be delighted to do it. We also need an advertising ban on all media, because it's a nightmare what's happening now in our countries. And think on the environment. Think that millions or billions of electronic systems are they were thrown away. It's a combination between metals and plastic. So we have a big problem. We have a big environmental problem by these products. So it's an obligation maybe to repurchases. Just this, very quickly, I look I'm off the time, okay, sorry. Then I go very quickly what we need. We know, of course, we need a very comprehensive leaflet. We need also that security for the for the containers. We need a precise list of banned additives, and we made some suggestions. And of course, we need a sales ban to minors. And what we are proposing is standardized packaging. So you have no more advertising on the packs. And we also, of course, need the ban of e-cigarettes in non-smoking areas, and the obligation to repurchase it, and to have maybe a special tax for the environment. This is the case for the regulators. At the end, again, the overview of all the regulation, and now it's my final slide. Excuse me very much, Steffi, to speak so long. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Martina, for your excellent overview about the electronic devices and the potential risk. And now